going on, guys? Sam with Awaken Productions. Look at today's video. You got a mosquito on your forehead. Don't burn yourself. We're in Hope, Alaska. Camped out. It's a fine day. It was raining all day, but now it's kind of starting to clear up and get pretty nice out. We're having a little fire. It's a little tutorial of kind of stuff to pack with you when you're hiking around in Alaska, in the backcountry of Alaska. I'm born and raised in Alaska, raised in Moose Pass. Most of my life, I spent a lot of time hiking around up in the mountains. That's kind of like the only thing we had to do when we were little kids. And you kind of just pick up things over the years of, things that you wish you did have, situations you ran into, and what you needed and stuff like that. And this is kind of a little tutorial of the stuff in my time of hiking and hunting and fishing all throughout Alaska, and even a little bit down to the lower 48. So what I thought was kind of bare necessities that you would at least want to take with you in order to hike comfortably and safely in case you run into any situation. All right, so we're going to kind of go over quickly of stuff I've got in my pack. The basics. This pack's a small pack. It's kind of also a designated hunting pack for this particular trip here in Hope. We went yesterday. We hiked in, we dirt biked in about 10, 11 miles, and then we hiked in about another 2 to 3 miles up into the mountains. Climbed over 4,600 feet altogether up into the mountain range, and we did it by myself. The wife wasn't too happy about it, but but she's got GPS tracking on me, so when I was able to get service somewhere, she was able to see I was way up in there. So we'll go over it. One of them is getting yourself a sturdy backpack that can handle quite a bit of weight. So far I've been getting, it just comes down to your personal preference of what feels good and what can haul stuff. The pack that I've been using lately that's been working out pretty good, it's a Tenton. It's pretty lightweight, but yet it can still haul quite a bit of stuff, and I can still attach a bunch of stuff to it. So we're just going to kind of go over some of the things that I've got packed in here. Right now, I have this one specifically lightened down quite a bit to where it's bare essentials that I take with me, so I can have a light pack and get into some distance. We'll go over first things first. I have two options here that I usually go with when I'm packing out, and one of them is first aid. I have two different packs for first aid, decent medical kit or survival kit. This one happens to be an SOL kit. This particular one I'm carrying in this bag. It's Survive Outdoors Longer is what the kit is. But this one's actually really nice because it has two parts to it. It has a medical part and a survival part. And your survival part has your standard stuff in there, like your heat blanket, your flint, compass, a little bit of string, twine. Also, it's got a couple of flares in there, little pin flares and stuff like that, so you can notify in the mirror. And then you have your medical kit side, which can have like your band-aids, your ointments, burn creams, splint stuff. That one's kind of in handy. One of the other ones that I'll carry with me sometimes is my old medic kit that I used to carry around with me all the time, hunting and stuff, especially when I was in the service. And this one's kind of getting a little outdated. It's a little old, and I'm probably going to need to refresh it. But in here we've got quite a bit of stuff. We've got, of course, some quick clot is what we've got with us for those cuts, pretty deep cuts, but they're not bleeding profusely, but they need to be kind of sealed up. That'll come in handy. We've also got a tourniquet for if you're really bleeding, you get hiking around that shell rock and you get a good gash in you, or if you happen to fall and get stabbed something pretty good, like a stick or something like that, and you can't stop the bleeding, you got your tourniquet. Of course, some Israel dressing, nasal, I actually really can't pronounce this properly, but it's like a nasal pharyngia. It's like a nasal pharyngia. It's for going down in your nose. We've also got heat blanket stuff in here, along with some more gauze, some more tape. And then one of the things I always packed in here is I've also got my paper map. And one of the other things that I found was really nice is actually electrical tape. Electrical tape works really good. You can use it in many forms. You could use it to make yourself a makeshift splint. You break your leg or something like that, you can use it to wrap stuff together instead of using string. And also you can use electrical tape to kind of twist itself up in itself in order to make kind of like a rope. So it can be used in many applications. I carry it with me for or you can just take some of the gauze and use the electrical tape and make a band-aid out of it. Whatever your preference is. So depending on what exactly I'm doing, like if it's difficult terrain, easy terrain, kind of go through the pockets of random stuff I have in here. Of course, I usually pack some gloves. Now this pack's going to have also some of my hunting stuff in it. So I'm not going to go over the hunting gear, but you know, of course, we've got some, these are Kevlar gloves. I got these from, I think these ones are from Sportsman's, and these actually have a Kevlar fabric in with them too. And they're really durable gloves. Just enough to kind of keep your hands a little bit warm and to keep you from cutting them. Like if you're hiking around on slate rock, most of these mountains are slate rock and they can be very jagged and very sharp. So these would come in handy so you don't cut your hands up. One of the most important things of any hiking trip, toilet paper, and make sure you bag it so that way it doesn't get wet in your pack. It's nothing like when you gotta use a bathroom and you're in a bind hiking somewhere, and yeah, you don't have to resort to your socks. Strips of your t-shirt or your socks. that's if you know. Go a little bit more in depth into the pack. What we've got in here, some of the other standard stuff that we have. Of course, we've got a flashlight. Make sure your batteries are good. You know, you got a good flashlight that you can signal with and to see where you're going at nighttime. In here as well, is I've also got a headlamp too for if I need to hike out in the dark. Usually, I don't want to hike in the dark. I usually try to do all my hiking during the daylight. Another thing, of course, always compass, but a compass isn't really going to do you so much good if you don't really have a map to go with it. So make sure you kind of carry a map of your area that you're hiking, or at least get very familiar with the area you're hiking. But it's always good to have a map with you too. Also, another good one, water purifier. Usually you want to pack enough water with you. Sometimes when I'm going light, I just carry the water purifier. Usually here, like especially here in Hope, Alaska, the rivers and creeks around here are all pretty fresh, clean water. Mountain spring water, so you kind of really don't need it because you can just basically stop off, go upstream a little bit and drink the water that's coming straight down. You don't have to filter it out, but it's always nice to carry one anyways. And so knife with you, doesn't matter what kind of preference knife you got. I've got mine. This is an outdoor edge. It's got two blades to it, kind of like a skin in, and also it's meant for it's kind of more my hunting knife. It does really good for what I need it for, but whatever you prefer for what you want to work with. And then of course I've got my waterproof case for my phone. In this particular case for hunting, I was looking for bears up here in Hope. This one's also got my hunting permits and license and stuff in it with it, along with my ID and phone that'll go in there. So this one, it can clip on, stay in your bag, keep everything waterproof. A good case like this is really handy to have with you in case it rains. And then I always carry water too. Water's a good thing to always carry with you. I mean, you don't want to pack a bunch of water just because it makes sure it weighs down your pack. That's just more weight you got to carry out. Then one of the things that I always carry with me, in case of emergencies, I always carry an MRE with me. MREs were developed by the military to feed soldiers. Now these things do really well. Me being prior service, as I got used to these, but they work really well where you can space out one of these a day for a whole day and it would last you. If you really wanted to, you can milk these out for a couple of days, just one of these. Separate out the meals within it, and then slowly consume your meal as the day goes on. You don't have to eat it all in one sitting, but they're packed full of a lot of calories and they have quite a bit in them, and some of them are pretty tasty. Like this one here is Asian style beef strips. It's really good. The other one that I like to pack as little snacks is pepper sticks. This one's I got these done from Indian Valley. This is a moose that I ended up getting last fall, that we made into some pepper sticks, and I carry with these. I usually carry a pack or two of these with me anywhere I go, whether I'm fishing, hunting, snow machining, boarding, hiking. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I usually carry a couple packs of these. These are really quick and easy, and they provide quite a bit of nutrients. Then of course we have a little miniature e-tool. We have a pickaxe shovel that we'll carry with us too. I have a bigger one that sometimes I'll carry with me, but this one's more of a little miniature version one. And then depending on where you're at, where you're hiking, this comes key. When you're hiking, make sure you get yourself very familiar with the area you're going to be hiking, so you know what to kind of prep for. So I mean, make sure you got yourself a map the area, or you've either I usually, in particular, I kind of use my phone. I do have a paper map that I do carry of the area. However, I usually, recently with technology, the way it's been running is I've been running an electronic map, usually with my phone, where it can track me through GPS without service. It works really well. It can also keep track of my route. It'll map it out on the map for me of where I've been going. I've pre-downloaded the maps beforehand, and then that way when I lose service, the maps are there. And then it just keeps track of my GPS coordinates and maps me wherever I'm going up into the mountainsides. That really comes handy because it shows me where I went, you know, the path I took, the elevation, the speed, the distance. It's a really great system. They got a bunch of them out there. The one I use is GAIA mapping system, GPS. And it works really well. I use it for snow machine and hiking and hunting and everything else, and if I just want to track where I'm going. All right, with mapping, getting yourself familiar with the area, of course, get yourself a really good compass. You can go with the cheapie, but I always go with this one's kind of like a Forest Service grave compass that's been issued out. Actually, it's from back when I was in the service, and I kept mine. It works really well, and also knowing how to use it. It doesn't really do you any good if you have a compass, but you don't really know what you're doing using it. So get yourself familiar on how to use a compass properly with a map. That way you can properly coordinate your way out of any area, any terrain and stuff. So compass is a good idea. And of course, like a map and whatever water you want to carry with you, and then anything extra that you might want to take with me. And by this particular pack, what I also had with it is my rifle that was hooked to it, along with a rain jacket that I packed with me in case it ended up raining and I didn't want to get too wet. So those are some of the other things that I was packing. One of the key things hiking out in the wilderness, especially here in Alaska, is making sure you have a plan. The key for especially in my lifestyle of hiking and hunting and stuff that I do is I always kind of constantly go by myself. The wife really hates it. She extremely hates it. But we usually get a good plan to go on, whether I'm out fishing or snow machining or hiking or hunting or any of that stuff. Is I get a plan, you know, where I'm going, how long I plan on being, when I should be back, when you should start getting worried, and then, you know, of course, having a plan in case, you know, I don't make it back. You know, what's the plan of trying to figure out where I'm at. So this particular hike we did here in Hope, going up Palmer Creek, you know, we laid it out that, hey, you know, I'm going to take the dirt bike up. I'm going to go up a good ways. And all the way up to there where the road ends, and then we're going to start hiking in from there. Sometimes I divert off the path a little bit of where I'm at, but usually you get a general idea where I'm going to be at, and I usually try to leave like little landmarks and little hints that shows kind of where I went to. So if I kind of diverted off my original plan of what I had, you usually want to stick to it. But if you do divert, at least leave some kind of indication to where everybody's going to be able to find your last known location and be able to get a good idea where you headed off to. The wife here, she's got GPS tracking on me, so anywhere where I've got service, she can ping where I'm at. And it comes in handy if you have service. I got lucky yesterday because I just happened to get high enough into the mountains in an area where I was able to get cell service again, and she was able to ping where I was at real quick. But other than that, you know, it was just going to be for a couple hours. You know, I told her to go up there and do some hiking and exploring, so it'd be for the rest of the day kind of deal thing, and I should be back before dark. But a good plan, like I said, is a good idea to have in place, so that way if something does happen, you know, the time is of the essence when it comes to if something happens. So I think that's kind of it. You know, that's a good this, like I said, this is kind of a light pack that I would take with me. It's easy to carry on your back, so you can go some distance. You don't have to worry about what you're climbing. And then it comes down to your hiking gear itself. And that comes down to whatever you're most comfortable in, but you also, depending on what you're going to be hiking, would determine quite a bit of it. Like yesterday when I went hiking up, so I knew I was going to be in a lot of shelly, a lot of slate rock. and so it's sharp, and so a good set of boots that were stiff so I don't roll my ankles. And then of course I knew it was going to be kind of sunny, maybe a little bit of rain it might, but it was going to be mostly kind of sunny, so real breathable clothes so I didn't sweat so much. And then also, you know, I was bear hunting, so I was packing at least a pistol with me. Some people prefer to pack like some bear mace with them, and then I had my rifle. Then if you're going into kind of like more brushy terrain, like alders and devil's club, stuff like that, you kind of want to wear more durable clothes. Like Carhartts work really good. Like if you're going to hike through a bunch of either nettles or devil's club or pushki or something like that, something where the thorns can't really penetrate through the fabric so easily. So, and then if you're getting caught up on a bunch of sticks, it doesn't tear so easily as well. No, that's about it. That includes it. A little tutorial of hiking in Alaska and things you should have with you.